So I think in anything, the best of strategy is not great or good enough if you don't have the right execution. And I recall this is something which I've learned, which I now call it the golden mile, is to see that job right down to its last element. And this was when the day Indira Gandhi was shot, and Mrs. Nanda, Ritu Nanda of Nikita Shah fame, then wanted to run an ad in condolence, acknowledging, who she was and what had happened. And we had gone to the publication then was Hindustan Times. So I was given the role of, we had created the ad, which went on to speak of what all Indira Gandhi had achieved, but it also had to have an image of Rajiv, who was going to take over. And I went to the publication. We looked at the images which were available, and there were two very distinct ones of Rajiv. One was with him laughing, and two was he had a more somber kind of morose kind of face. So I said, whatever happens, don't run the one with the smile. You've got to run the one with this, because you're going to put him up in an ad or a campaign which should have him in the right expression. And I hate to say this, but the next morning, the publication had goofed it, and they had put the one with him smiling, and not a good image that morning. So before the office even started, I had called up Mrs. Nanda and apologized, and she said, "Come and see me. Don't worry, it's already done." So what were my learnings? My big learning was your golden mile is where it happens, because between failure and success is what happens then. Now, that was one. And two is, from a client I learned the very fine quality of being able to let go and accepting that what had happened just then was not an error of judgment, but an error or a fault which happened because of somebody wasn't thinking when that happened. So I think the golden mile, making sure that the last bit is managed correctly till the last point, if you're responsible and accountable. If you're not, it doesn't matter, because then somebody else would be. So these are some of the big ones. So I had to go and apologize, and she was gracious, and she said, that's fine. But that was the greatness of some of the clients I've worked with. And it was a very honest mistake. It was probably made at the point before it went into print, but it happened. And it was there cast in stone forever, because that's how the ad appeared. So that was one. And I mean, there have been many, because the advertising business, every day you have an opportunity to do great work or to mess it up completely. And that's true. So every new idea, every new campaign can become a roaring success, or it can be a failure. And on that rests your profession, because the market is not kind, or let's say the industry is not kind. So if you do something which is incorrect, you're going to have to face the consequences. That was then. Thankfully, there was no Twitter, and there was no Facebook, and there was no social media. But in today's context, I would be toast, because her company would have been toast. And that would have been terrible for everybody. So finally, I probably would have had to pay a greater price than just getting away with saying, I'm sorry. I think, a proudest moment is in time. Across a career of many years, there are moments where you're really on top of the world. So there are many proud moments. But I think I was in a company where I always knew that I could be the head of the company. And I think, and I really want to liken this to a marathon runner. It was about having set your sights on wanting to lead this company. There was no owner in HTA then. And that's the big difference, because I knew that if there's no owner, I could be the head of this company. And the various things you did to try and achieve that career goal or career objective. I think the proudest moment was when, the first one, of course, was when I was given an office, those days, Chennai. And I think it was Jerry Rao who said that, somebody must move to Chennai. And I went there, I lived for 5 years. So that taught me that, if a company thinks it's right for you, and somebody is thinking through your career, it's a good step to take, which I did. Why would I want to do it today? I wouldn't, because, and if you have to send something to New York, everybody says yes. But would you take a bad job or a bad location before you take a good one? Is, I think, something I learned. I went to Colombo in the middle of the war, Again, that was as the managing director for company JWT there. Would I have taken it? I did. I had the courage to take it because I knew it was again another career step. Finally, I came back to India and I took over a contract from Ram Sehgal. These were famous, very famous legends who we grew up, admiring. So when I took over from him, I think that was a great learning experience. I learned on a smaller operation how to manage it, the value of people, talent, teamwork, and all the things which you know take you to success or failure. But the proudest, absolute proudest moment was when I was offered I think the HTA job then from Mike Khanna. Mike Khanna had just taken over from Ghoshal. So if you look at the lineup of very famous people who had led this company, I would have been the sixth CEO of the company. So there was Mr. Ghoshal, there was Mike Khanna, and then I took over. So I think that was a happy day. I mean, I secretly must have smiled a lot that morning. And we had a champagne toast in the office, though we don't encourage that. And that's how it began. So I think those are proud moments. But I also attribute some of it to myself. Uh, in any job, for you to be successful, you've got to give it your all. There's no shortcut to success, like there's no shortcut to wealth. So you've got to give it your best all the time. You cannot say I'm half on or half off. There's no such thing as a personal life. There's one life and you've got to manage both ends of it. So you've got to keep going. You've got to be absolutely clear as to how you want to do it. Your people are very important, so you've got to carry large teams. The growth of global companies is extremely important, so you've got to ensure you meet that objective as well. And in all that, if you end up having fun, which we encourage people to do, then it's a job you want to do. So after a point, it's no longer a job; it's the only life you're living. And if you're enjoying it, so much the better for you.